Hello, folks. Um, Today I'm going to make a little stream because I'm not feeling very well. Sorry, it's the heat. But I will be doing a live reaction on what I'm seeing from the US. Okay. I won't show other people's contents, of course. As you know, I have a thing about it. No, I rarely do it, and when I do it, it's just at an informative level because I don't think it's right. But this is my position, no issues with it. I might change it someday, I don't know. Now, I'm watching here very different streams. I'm watching two American channels, one a bit more balanced and the other a bit more Trumpian. And I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to understand what the hell is going on. But the most interesting part of this stream, of doing this, of seeing this, it's the comments. You know, the comments are the cherry on top of the cake. And it's really funny, man, because, for example, I have one when they're in a known channel and they are just filming, they're just filming the on live. Of course, I'm watching this live, okay? They are filming the streets of Washington and other places, but they're just showing up, showing. For example, now I'm seeing one. It's the streets of Washington, and all you see is people passing by in the by e-bikes and whatever. No cars allowed, it seems. Then they go to the. It looks like I don't know, a fair, you know, sand ground. A lot of military personnel walking around. Some tents, people walking around doing whatever, I don't know. Showing some in a helicopter, yes, an attack helicopter. This is one. As for the No Kings protest across America, it's showing the people gathering near the sidewalks, in the roads, and protesting, not seeing any kind of violence or whatever. Here we go. This is nice. There are polices and MAGAs. There is a MAGA guy talking with an armed guy. I think he's a national guard or something. Has uh, a khaki uniform. Fat guy with a gun and a helmet, whatever, and right helmet. Just looking around. Behind him, a guy in a pickup with a cooler, little red hat, and a flag that says Trump something. And on the other side of the fence, people protesting. Surreal. They are blocking the people that are protesting, but people are not trying to go over the fence. Nothing like that at all. They're just waving flags. I don't know. I think there's a pride flag over there. American flags. Some cards with keywords and pictures. I think pictures of deported people. And but I'm going just to stop here to read a bit of the comments on this No King's Day protest. This is in a local news station, a known national American station. Okay, let's see. There's some people, of course, that are talking about the No Tyrant King, but then we read some comments. Some of them are clearly bots, but there are others so very funny. No Marxists. Well, you're right. There are no Marxists. There are people that are just protesting a jerk. And this is me being biased, but this is really what I am seeing here. And then people are also arguing, which is very funny, you know. Oh my God, the this is a comment I've been reading a lot. The United States of America, absolutely right. Then there are the religious nuts. Turn to Christ. Christ will save you. My God, these people have never picked up the Bible in their lives. They keep protesting inside instead of going to work. Wow, how very adult of them. This is really funny, man. Yeah. Christianity Sunday. Uh, why the hell do these people have this fixation with religion? Okay, another shot of the mall cops. My God, no commies. This guy, he has some kind of fixation with communists. He must like, but yet he probably uses a little red hat that is made in China, and that's also very funny. This one, my friends, is epic. Low testosterone wiener, wiener. Sorry. Oh my God, there was a guy here with a card saying Trump is a pedo. Yeah. Oh yes, I speak freely here. All right, I'm just talking with you about what I'm seeing here. My God, let's go let's go- let's go to some place a bit more quieter. Uh, More panoramics of what I think this is. Yes, this is Washington D.C. And these reporters, they're a bit, I don't know, man. Is this the way reporters, even professional reporters, work in the U.S.? This is a bit weird, man. Around here, well, they're a bit more professional, even live. America is North Korea. Oh God, man, don't exaggerate, okay? You're still not there, okay? But well, he's getting his military parade. Oh Jesus! Let me just cut a tab here because this is my net sometimes gives me some issues here. Okay, wow, lots of people on the street. Uh, from what I'm seeing here, people. Let me just turn to Top Chat because these guys, man, it's ridiculous how many bots are uh, are in the chats. It's ridiculous. And I know it. I've worked. Let's call it work. I've worked a couple of times as a. Let me see what's happening here. What's wrong with my net? Good. Ah, so, nah, mm, nah. Sorry, just had to check a couple of things here. Well, let's continue. Well, what do we see? We see women in a Sunday clothes. It must be hot. And there are some people sitting around, just watching. Some have their kids. They are drinking some fresh whatever. I don't think you can drink alcohol in the street in the US, right? My God. No, oh no, this one here they're interviewing a couple of people. No, but I see just protesters that are relatively peaceful, man. These are just people. They are out. They are showing their cards. They are protesting, but there isn't. This is not a French protest, okay? There goes man. There's some guy here. We all need Christ. Oh, for God's sake! Why? Listen, my friend. Uh, my dad, he was a religious Catholic person. He follows it all. Even during Easter, he would fast in Easter. He wouldn't eat meat on Fridays. He would follow all the precepts of the church. He tried to, at least. And even him, my dad always told me that a Christian acts with actions. You know that person is a Christian by the way the person acts. You don't know that the person is a Christian by the words they are speaking. Okay, and these people, man. Oh God, there's a guy here. There's a guy here that's saying, "MAGA explain hurricanes." No, sorry, explain nuking hurricanes, please. Are you kidding me, man? Did someone? Is this real? Look, if anyone is seeing this, please tell me, is this real? Were they actually uh, considering dropping nuclear bombs on hurricanes? Are you mad? Oh shit. Okay, I'm going to turn off this tab because they're just talking about their own opinion, and what I want is the facts. I want to see some images. There you go. All kinds of people. It's fucking fair. Who are these people, man? My God, this guy, man, he is insisting in the Christ thing. And there is a person here that is saying something that is actually accurate. It looks like a third world country, man. I love our supreme leader. My God. Holy shit. No, I have heard this one before. People say that wokeism was born from postmodernism and neo-Marxism. Okay. Do people know what modernism is? You know, it's a kind of an art style, okay? And Marxism has absolutely nothing to do with this. There are no Marxists in the United States, man. There are no communists in the USA, and there are definitely no socialists. People don't know about it. Now I'm watching this one, and it's curious because they look like a couple, interracial, and I can understand why they are worried. Yeah, you have reasons to be worried. Yeah. Oh God. There's a guy here, and a guy, yes, well, at least the name is of a guy. He's really taking the piss out of all of these people. Well, at least he's having fun. Panoramic of the White House. Actually, it's kind of a ridiculous building, you know. Sorry, Americans, but it is. Now you have some military guys, you know, prancing around, showing their muscles. The cougars and the cougars and the teenies are all up in arms. There they go, running away. Is this what they do? Kind of lame, man. Look, I have not seen many, many, parades, but the our parades are not like this, man. Not at all. No, this is going to take a look here at Reuters. Let me just refresh the page. They were showing panoramics of what was happening, but now they stopped. I wonder if there is any reason. Mm, nope, it's stagnant. Stream must have fell. Now, but the best part of this here in the US, it's definitely, definitely the comments. I have never read such. I don't know. My God, block the spammers. You can try it. Mm. Look, I swear to God, there is some guy here in this stream, and he wants to convert you to something. He says he's a Christian, but well, he's saying a couple of words that are not very Christian. Then there are the habitual racists, and you know what? Uh, Now I can understand why these people uh, come into European-based streams and YouTubers and whatever, and are always constantly blocked because around here they can say absolutely anything. But look, this is not free speech. This is absolute free speech. And absolute free speech, you know what it is? It's harassment, man. Oh my God. Let me just check something here in my stream. Okay. My net is a bit weak, but these people, they are interesting. I'm seeing the protests, man, and they're really peaceful people. And before I saw some guy. So my net is really really weird, man. Come on. And as I was saying, I saw some guy, and He was just standing behind the national, I think it was a national guard or whatever, with his little red hat, you know, just relaxing, and I think he was trying to insult some of the people that were just, uh, I don't know, showing their opinion. And people are really peaceful, man. They're just walking around, bottle of water in the hands, that is really some kind of a American obsession with water. No, people of all ages, of all races too. I've seen a couple of Asian people, black people, white people, you know, showing their cards where they are expressing their ideas. And then we have people, for example, here in the chat, insulting them. Who invited Malcolm X? For God's sake! Oh, now the religious guy has gone full zealot now. Now he says they have a big reckoning coming from God or something. You know, God will punish them. Why? Why would God punish these people for protesting? Why would God punish these people for being gay or whatever? That's ridiculous. Why are you look? Why are you bringing God into this? Uh, Judge not, for that you are not judged. Also, okay? It's no. Jesus' message is so bloody simple, so simple. No, and if you read a bit of the Quran, for example, and you go down to the core of the idea, it's also a message of peace. Of course, it has a different interpretation, but if you interpret the message properly, it's a peaceful message. My issue is that the Muslims, they confuse a lot of stuff that was just local customs, like covering up the women. Do you know where the custom of covering up women comes from? Okay, bit of history. Now, in the old Assyrian Empire, in the Babylonian Empire, and all, if you don't know, there were several empires in that region. Okay, but there was kind of a cultural continuity because the empire that came after the other, pardon me, would absorb a part of the culture of the empire that was before. So, for example, the really big empire that ever existed was the empire of Akkad. Okay, then you have the entire, let's call it, cultural merging and conflict and whatever between the Semitic people and other people. Like, for example, the Assyrians, that were kind of a mix between northern Indo-European people and Semitic people, and that adapted the culture of that region, and they were mixed. Okay, and then you have the Sumerians. You have all of these cultures burning up here. But let me tell you where the custom of covering up women comes from. Okay, it comes from a very simple thing. In the old empires, the Assyrian Empire, a woman that was the wife or the whatever, a woman that was serious, a good lady, when she went outside, she would cover her head and perhaps cover her face because due to the warm weather and the sand and all of that, it would be natural for women to cover themselves to protect their skin. This was not, they did not have plastic surgery, and this was normal. And a prostitute was forced to walk around with her face bare, sometimes, in some occasions, even scantily clad, and with makeup on. So these people associate a cultural trait, okay, that for certain their prophet Muhammad, their prophet was exposed to this culture, and then they integrate it into their own religion. And this is nothing new, okay, because even in medieval times in Christianity, women were covered up, okay. So this is nothing new, but this is for you to see how sometimes perspective can be so different, okay. But and people mix in things that have absolutely nothing to do with religion. Like, for example, people taking the Bible by the letter, or the Quran by the letter, whatever. Look, man, stop it. When those people wrote the Bible, okay, they did not know absolutely nothing about this world. Oh, and I know what the answer will be. Oh, it's the word inspired by God. Look, the stories that you read in the Bible, number one, the Old Testament is kind of like the Jewish, the Hebrew in this case. Sorry, not Jewish. I don't. What I meant is it the Hebrew. It's the Hebrew way of thinking. Noah, all the families, back to Adam and Eve that magically got married and create us all. It looks like an insult story from a from a from a Japanese hentai or something. Okay, but that part of history is that, okay, and it has some episodes, some ideas that you might consider valid. Personally, I went to Sunday school, all of that. No, I had very traditional education in that aspect, and I don't find much logic with it. And then you have the New Testament, and the New Testament is something completely different. It has a lot of Greek culture in it. It it mirrors uh, all of that region in this period that was completely drenched in Greek culture. And then the Greeks would bring things from Egypt, from Europe, from wherever they could, and they would mash it all together into their culture. And then they would spread it far and wide, okay? So much so that to this day, you still have examples of and remains of the Greek realms that existed in northern India, okay, and into the region of the nomad populations, all of that, okay. And the New Testament is basically several perspectives speaking about the life of Christ, okay. And what you can remove from all of that was a guy that said you should not profit on religion, a guy that said you should not mess with other people, okay? Do not judge other people. Try to help them. Try to be a bloody decent person, okay? And then, but people just focus in the act of sacrifice of Christ, okay? They don't focus on the why, the intention that was behind this, okay? And then we have lunatics like this guy that he's trying to, I don't know, he's hating on other people and he's saying he's seeing a lot of hate. He's starting it. Why is he even in this chat? Man, just leave if there is so much hatred. Oh god. Let me take another look here. Wow. lot of troops marching, some guy doing his jogging, and the chat is completely lighting up. Trump, our beloved king. Oh my God, there is someone with some serious daddy issues around here. The most powerful fighting force in the world. It was. But remember that you need European components for your weapons. Do you like Heckler and Koch? I shot one of their machine guns once. It was funny, but I'm not much of a weapon guy. Okay, there are some people here. I have to say this in the chat that they are genuinely not talking about Trump at all. They are just talking about the army, honoring veterans, and this is perfectly normal. Okay, this has nothing to do with our culture. No, walking around with flags and all of that crap. That's ridiculous. But it's their culture, so we that this I understand. Okay, the religious guy is now arguing with another religious guy, and both of them are trying to say that Jesus loved them. Holy shit, man! This is really funny, man. Eh, oh god, this is so weird. Sin, my god. These guys are the show of this stream. But meanwhile, sorry, my allergies. Oh god. But from what I'm seeing here, things are peaceful. I'm watching three now. The one, two, four. Yes, four different streams of four different perspectives. Uh, because if you try to watch something based out of Europe, at least in a reliable source, you would not see it. Okay, I before I started this stream, I went over to pardon me, I went over to Euronews and France 24, and they were not living it. I also watched our local international news station here, and they none of the channels was broadcasting it. This is just important for America in this aspect. Now they are parading the streets of Washington D.C., and I have to say it's surprisingly a bit derelict. The roads are really bad quality. My God. And your sidewalks, but how can I say you're not a sidewalk culture? But the sidewalks are, man, they are ridiculous. Things are clean, okay? Let's not exaggerate, okay? But no, no, this is kind of a. It's like I was telling you, man. There is really nothing happening, okay? I'm seeing, but there go the magas again. Look, I have been seeing this and this guy, and it's really ridiculous. You have the protesters on the side of the street protesting. Let me see. This seems like they are protesting near the White House. Yes, they are. And there's just two cops and a couple of loyalists to Trump behind them. And those guys, those loyalists, those are the guys that what the hell are they doing there? Ah, man, get out of here. You just need to have the cops there. No, the cops are doing their jobs. They are Everything is absolutely peaceful. People are walking around with their American flags, with the No Kings flags. They're just talking, smiling, you know. They are even talking with the police officers, you know. And look, and this is how democracy is supposed to be, okay? People are supposed, you know, you cannot be offended by someone. And look, if you are listening to me and you are a Trump supporter, let me just tell you this, okay? I don't care. But the issue here is, why are you supporting the person, you know, with all of the things that he's been doing? You know, he has tanked the tourism industry. He has tanked the support of your allies. He has tanked everything, you know. And this is something I cannot understand. If you would to tell me, if you would present me a proof that he is actually doing something to improve the economy, man, I would listen to you. I would see it. As I told before, I did not finish my degree, but I had 3 years in political economics, and I have some experience in business, so I know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm not some kind of curious guy that sits around and, and does some videos. I am not monetized. I don't intend to be monetized, at least in this channel. I'm just talking about life, you know, about politics, about economics, trying to bring in my input, trying to, like I'm doing now, seeing things that are happening. No, right now we have a loyalist, we have a couple of cops, and we have a group of protesters playing the saxophone and whatever, and talking with them. Look, and this is protest, no, okay, and this is absolutely normal. And you Americans, like I was telling you, know, if you support Trump, okay, but you have to normalize things. And the truth is, groceries are more expensive, shops are closing, manufacturers are leaving. Subaru left, okay. The Germans will probably left leave or leave also, okay. There's an entire shitstorm coming your way, and you have to address these issues. You can like the man. I don't care. Okay, if that's what fancies your your whatever, I don't. I'm not implying nothing, but the truth is that man makes you look like weaklings. Okay, Putin is laughing his ass off. Everyone is, and now the damn idiot has sanctioned, and I don't believe that he sanctioned. I don't think Israel even told him anything. They just send him a memo and say, "Hey, Donald, we're hitting Iran." Okay, and off they went. Okay, because he has no control over the situation. The only control that he has over Israel is the fact that he's supplying him weapon, while the European nations are winding up the support with to Israel. And I have a feeling that after this little joke with Iran, they're going to be even winding it up more, diminishing whatever trade with Israel. Okay, because this is ridiculous. Okay, Israel should just stop doing whatever the fuck they're doing in Gaza. Okay, make a compromise, stop this. Okay, I don't know, do whatever was needed to end this. Okay, and stop messing with Iran. Stop it. Okay, you want to defend yourself from Iran? Okay, do it. But remember, the people that died right now in Iran, they have family members, and those family members will absolutely love you. I'm being ironic if you can't, if you can understand. Okay, remember English is not my first word. Okay, now again, man, this is being look. This is absolutely peaceful. I'm not seeing any issues here really. But the chat, man, let me tell you, my God, so many bots, so many bots in the chat. And look, it's really effing ridiculous. She's got Trump derangement syndrome. Oh my God, no, this is ridiculous, man. Now there's a guy spamming the channel with repeated comment. Whoa, this lady is mad. Hold on, baby. Oh god. Now here we go. Just a little sound. This is what this is what the protesters are saying. Okay. The God guy continues to hit it hard in the chat. Turn to Jesus. Look, the saxophone guys and the tuba. This is hilarious, man. Oh god. Whoa. There's some guy here that he says, turn to Jesus, my son." And the guy answers, "Turn to reality, Dad." Oh, this is hilarious, man. Mm, what is this channel? Civilian guys wearing partial military. There are look. There's the militaries. No, carrying some bags, jumping over some logs. The cougars and the teenies are really liking it. Oh god, this is so ridiculous, man. This is look. This is not an army demonstration, okay? This is a comedy demonstration. Around here, when there is a military parade, and sometimes there are some examples of military procedures and all, it's to show off uh, the organization, the accuracy of the army, and not this, man. This is really bloody ridiculous. My God, I don't look. Now they're lifting some weights. Well, I could lift that weight too, man. There's a guy going on a treadmill or whatever that is, while the others are counting. Look. This is too American for me. I don't even understand what the hell is going on here. This is like wrestling. You know what the Americans call wrestling. I also don't understand it. Okay, but I did like the Undertaker. He was fun. Now let me see. Okay, Reuters now is showing the militaries doing their clownery in the lawn. Look, would you waste your time if you're an European like I am? Would you waste your time watching this? This is so weird to me, man. This is my genuine look. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be offensive. If I am being offensive to anyone, I'm sorry. But this is really odd, man. Really, really odd. Oh God. Now there's a lady here. She's talking.
That I was not born here. I earned that title to be American citizen to be here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all the people that are here working, they they deserve to be here.
Yes. She's an immigrant. An immigrant, but with American nationality now. And what she's saying, man, yeah, she's right. Yeah. Oh, But this chat, man, I want you Americans to understand that what is going on in your chats, people across the world sometimes just turn. I'm certain a lot of people just turn in and let the chat roll. And I'm on top chat, okay? Because if I was in live chat, this would be too quick for me. This will be too quick for me. Let me see how many people on this. Almost 1,000 people, and this one is one that has less people watching it. This one, this one has a, and it's funny. It's really funny because those with a more extreme position in the streams that I'm watching, you know, more extreme. Let's call it more pro-Trump, okay? There are more people watching the stream than in the regular news that they are just showing what is happening, okay, with the facts. Because basically, I was making fun about the militaries, okay? But people, look, they are just, pardon me, they are just filming what is happening, okay? And what is happening is this: you have one big lawn, then you have some bags and some shit, and some weights and some logs, and then there are groups of military picking up the bags, throwing them to the floor. One looks like a big sausage. There are other ones picking up the bags, running, jumping over the logs, dropping them, going back for more. This is really, really odd. Hey, Ginny. Look, I wish I could show you this, but I better not, okay? Because these are official channels and they might not like it. But it's really funny, you know? Let's. I'm going to try to hear a little more here about the No Kings.
A century of peace, but we chose oil, we chose hatred, and we chose greed.
Hmm.
And I will not let that continue in my lifetime. This is my country. This is yours.
No, it continues to be very peaceful. Okay, even traffic is passing by. A lot of people are honking and supporting the demonstrators.
A wise man
I'm just
once
going
said,
to show
and
you
to
a
quote him,
quick
I read
peek
somewhere freedom of
on
speech.
one of the streams
I
that
read somewhere
I'm
freedom
watching.
of the press. I read somewhere that the greatness of America
You see,
was defined in the right
this is
to
what we are
protest
seeing,
for
and
those
it's
rights.
absolutely
And that
peaceful. You know,
man, Martin Luther King
it's
Jr.,
just people,
would be absolutely
walking around,
horrified if he was rolling
talking,
in his grave right now.
waving
And I
their
will not let that
flags.
name go to waste. This is
Look,
history. This was his
this
speech.
is the great
He fought for
this
those
is the
who
great
rights.
threat of the
What do you mean?
protest.
Glad you're here.
I'm sure you need
Oh no, they're up
to
top. They're
send
ready
in
to
the
talk.
military.
Sorry, excuse. Can I talk with you too? I'm usually after what? Oh, GBB. Okay. They were GS. Okay, I talk with you.
Okay,
Can I? Haven't seen any helicopters.
just the peak, okay? Because I'm not showing it because they might not like it, and I don't want no issues with anyone. I can just give my look on it. And look, now I'm going to show this one. This is from Reuters, okay? And this is basically what they are showing. Okay, let me. This is happening right now as we speak. Look, there you go. They're picking up the big sand sausage. Now they throw it to the other side. They were jumping over the log with the with the sandbag. She is here just showing off her legs, and she should. No, looks like a nice day. Apparently, no thunderstorms. Look, and this is really just what is happening. Okay, and hey, ginger giraffes, how are you? Are you there too, gingers? Watching the parade? Oh my, this is actually funny. Okay, I will show you this one now. Look, I'm going to show you, and if they want me to take down my stream, I will take it down. But look, now I'm going to show you. This one is from the sun.
This is a country for us. This is a country of my parents and my children and my neighbors. And this is a country of immigrants.
Just a minute.
The colonials did not pay thousands of dollars. They did not wait 8 years to have citizenship. They didn't do that. I am not going to sit here while my people suffer.
What do you think about the president?
But
this,
the chat here, man, this is the real show.
What do you think about that as you guys
Look,
are protesting here and in other cities across
don't
the
surprise.
I can remember in 2016 all the propaganda that was put out
Shit,
on North Korea and how they had a show for Kim Jong-un's birthday and all the rockets that they displayed.
Ah,
and
come
the
on, don't
weapons.
compare it with
And the West took that
with North Korea. That's a bit too much too. Look, and here we go. We go back to the military. Hey, Jeannie. Hope the doggy is all right. But no, you know what I mean. But I have been watching this for almost an hour now, 51 minutes or something. And to tell you the truth, this just looks like some kind of a 90s county fair or something like that. There we go. We have the little soldier boys walking around. No, then they sometimes they interview people here. This is really odd, no? Well, from what I am seeing, there seems to be no protests. But I'm going to do a quick search on YouTube right now while we're talking, and I'm going to try to see if there are any issues popping up. I hope not. What's this? Oop. My net is really slow, man. And as I was saying, this is only news in the US, really. Because I like I said in the beginning of the stream, I watched Euronews, I watched France 24, and a couple of more, and there was really nothing. The New York Post, let's see what they are showing. They're showing the same thing as the others, really. Let's see. This is what they are showing, and this has been all of it. Okay, just people, some people with the signs. As you can see, these are people of all ages, Asian, white. There's some black people too. I would understand that there's not a lot of black people protesting because we know American cops will be very quick in turning their guns to a black person or a brown person, from what I know. But on and on, more or less normal. Okay. Let me just focus on myself again. Minute. Let me pop out. Just take a look at the chat. Oops. Just a minute. Okay, give me just a little minute. I'm just making some little engineering here. There was shootings in Minnesota? Really? Mm. Let me look for it right now. Shootings in Minnesota. Let me see if there's something here. Two Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses were shot by someone impersonating a police officer. Wow. 3 people shot at homes of Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota. 3 people, Uncini. I'm watching it right now. What is the CNN news? Let me just see if they are showing something. Remember, folks, I'm doing a live reaction to what is happening in the US, like I promised I would. I will be as long as I can because, like I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm a bit under the weather because of the heat. Let me just minute. I want you to see what I'm seeing, but right now it's just this. I'm going to let me back up a bit. Let's see. This is very American. They're just doing a panoramic of the place where the shooting happens. I don't know this news outlet, so I won't use it. Okay. Fox 9. This is Fox. Agenda Free TV. No, man. No. Okay. Sorry, but I won't risk to using these other news outlet because I don't want to risk having any kind of misinformation spread. No. This one is interesting. Look, this is what it looked like in the directly in the grounds. No, just this.
All right, all the way to the end. He's got that 100-pound sandbag, and he's sprinting it as fast as he can go all the way to the end.
It's a county fair. It's a bloody county fair, sorry. We have people walking around with their bags, with their water obsession.
With an unofficial time of 15 minutes, 39 seconds. Way to go!
No issues at all. And Reuters, for example, they have that shot cheering on our army. But this one, this is the NBC. And as you can see, this is the top shot. Look at the speed it's going. Imagine, I'm going to put it in live chat for a while, so you can see as I am. That's all. Look at this. You have some guys spanning, you have bots, you have another people. Look at it's absolutely.
And you can hear the screams of determination. They are clearing it out, they are fighting all the way to the end.
Now, let's go on some serious notes. Now, I really look, this is very alien to me. Let me just start by saying that. Because here we have a lot of respect for the military, okay? Really, they deserve to be respected. They defend our country, they defend our borders, but this looks like, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what is going on through my mind. These people are walking around and protesting like if they were in some kind of, I don't know, in a Disneyland. They're buying hot dogs, they're doing whatever. But one thing I have to say is that the protesters, they are really peaceful, man. At least from what I am being shown, okay? Remember that this is all from the USA, all exclusively from news outlets of the USA. So, and please, I showed you the channels. I ask you to go and watch them, to drop them a like, because when I see something on YouTube, I always drop them a like. Okay, it's just a matter of education. Even if I don't really like it, but only if something really offends me will I simply not dislike or even report. But now this is worrying. Two Democratic politicians, but they were talking about three people changes. At least here they were talking about three people dead. Let me see if I can. I might try here. Might try to take a look here and see if there is anything more. They are saying Minnesota legislators target in a shooting. Lawmakers. Now, here it is. The name of the two people died. Targeted in shootings by a suspect impersonating police. Speaker Emerita Melissa Hoffman, DFL, Senator John Hoffman, DSL, were the victims of the target. Let me just read continuation here of the news. Well, this is according to Fox 9. Saturday morning at their homes in Brooklyn Park and Champlain. This is really bad, man. But unfortunately, it was bound to happen some shit like this. I'm going to show you a panoramic here of the protests again. I think this is important for people to see that nothing, at least here, nothing is really happening. You have people protesting with their signs. People are screaming or what's up, but there is no interruption to traffic. No people now are crossing. You can hear music in the back. Before there were cars passing by. And let me tell you, man, the USA really does not impress me. So, compared to our streets and whatever, no. This compares nothing. No. People with the American flag just walking with many flags, making noise. So really, there is no issues here, No kings. No kings from each. No kings, man. And I have seen a lot of people. I've seen gay people. I saw a gay guy walking a cop, and man, that was funny. But what I'm seeing more is families. Lots of families. This is more or less good, because if there is some madman, look at the size of the manifestation. There's a lot of people here. Now let's take a look. Here we go. And this is what actually, man. This model is a bit out of date. Sorry. There are better stuff. There are better things right now. Look, the bot can grab a pipe. Can he grip it? Wow. Look, let me just focus on me because I have to say something really quick. Sorry, I'm getting the hand of my controls here. But this is exactly the type of fun that Americans seem to like going to see, to look at fireworks and whatever. It's that kind of things that is really weird for me. I know I used to like to watch the videos of a guy that he would go into abandoned malls and abandoned places, okay, and show some history, and then he made some videos traveling around and showing stuff. And I honestly got bored of the man because then he started making these reviews of going on in planes, staying at hotels, and going into a lot of amusement parks and that crap. And I really could not understand what the hell I was looking at, because the guy would just parade around with that shit. And I couldn't understand why was he wasting time on it. Ah, let me just read the folks here. Look, Mr. Rifley. Look, please don't. Sorry, please don't misunderstand uh, my understanding of that kind of fun has a mockery. I'm not trying to mock people. Okay, you like what you like, but I really can't understand that. Okay, because I would understand, for example, let me give you one little quick example. The 10th of June here in Portugal was the day of Portugal. Okay, you're not offended. Okay, thank you. But the 10th of June here, it was the day of Portugal. And there was a military parade, okay? All the politicians, they gathered in a town here in Portugal. They select a town. Uh, they don't do it in the same place. A town in South Portugal, in a historic town called Lagos, in the Algarve. And then the military parade, they passed the marching bands, all of that. They they saluted the president, they saluted the prime minister, everyone. Okay, but it was just that, and it was not a display. How can I say this? How can I? You have to forgive me because English is not my first language. Okay, it's my third or fourth. But I like to watch. For example, my mother also likes it a lot, and I had family in the military. I have a cousin currently that is still in special ops here, so I know it. And we like to watch the discipline of the military, the display of being effective, of working as a team. When they pass with the tanks, we did not have tanks, okay, but when they pass with those military cars, we like to see the way they march, the way that they work in conjunction. But to just go, and I'm going to show this just to put a point ahead. To watch this, people walking around, looking at guns, looking at these little stands. I would understand if they were buying some food or whatever. But for example, there was some kind of recruiting thing here. There is an helicopter here. I really don't understand this. It's really beyond me because you see, for us, looking at these things, if I'm looking at a history book and trying to learn a bit about it, okay, that is absolutely acceptable. But walking around with your kids here, I'm sure most of these kids are bored to death. Okay, my dad would take me to much interesting places. Let me just focus back on me. Okay, my dad would take me to much interesting places. Okay, my dad, he, oh, sorry. Oh God, my net today is killing me. No, but my dad would take me to much interesting places. My dad would take me to see museums, to see monuments. We did not travel a lot because you see, my dad was constantly working. Okay, he was a baker, so if you know, a baker's life is inside the bakery. But whenever he had free time, he would take us, for example, to go visit museums here in Portugal, across the border in Spain, sometimes even over to Morocco, to a lot of places. Okay, but we would, for example, we would go to Spain to taste the food, something, to go see a cathedral, even to go watch football, what you Americans call soccer. For us, it's football, a football match, you know, to the beach, to the forest, there is a reason why I'm also kind of what the Australians will call a busher, a guy that likes to walk around in the forest and in the bush and just live off the land if he can, or camping and all of that stuff. My dad was he liked that stuff, and he would take me to see those things. Okay, and then of course there was also the fairs, with all the with the carousels, with the haunted houses, all of that. But mostly he took me to see culture, and this is why I cannot understand why. For example, I was quoting that guy. That guy used to have a very interesting contents. He would go into little towns in the U.S., for example, and show the streets, sometimes even talk with the people, show those little museums sometimes the American towns have, and then I am sure, I am sure those are interesting. Okay, I am sure there are interesting people there, and then you have this utter display of I cannot fathom this. There was a father with his son showing off when the militaries were showing off some kind of gun. I think it was a Barrett. I also know my gun, but I think it was a Barrett or something. I hate guns, but I know them all. And the dad was showing him, and I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't that dad just take his son to go get an ice cream and then take him to the park, sit with him, talk with him? You know, I did the same thing with my nephews. Okay, I raised my. As far as I know, I don't have kids. Okay, but I've been raising my nephews. Okay, and I would take them somewhere and talk with them. See what is going on in their lives. Okay, uh, because my dad, for me, he was more of my friend and my, let's call it, mentor or something like that. That word is a bit too overwhelming because it had nothing to do with it. But and I see that one of the big issues here, and like Ginger is saying here, she's absolutely right. We don't do culture over here. Well, most people don't. What you are seeing is a regular Saturday. Look, and there is something wrong when the regular Saturday is this. Let me just take a look, see if something is changing. No, the protests, at least here, I think this is direct from Washington D.C. They are peaceful. People are walking, showing their flags, shouting out words. Well, everything is normal. But as I was saying, what what really baffles me here is this lack of of interaction. All of the interactions seem to be very artificial. Like that guy that I was talking about, he did some excellent content, and I would love to see the guy just going into a little corner shop or even a bloody 7-Eleven or something and show the products and then go into the little museum of the town. That sometimes I found it a little funny, but not in a bad way, but because they will be talking about, oh, this is 100 years old, oh, this is 50 years old, and for them that was something of very extraordinary. And then I would just think that I was born in a house that was built around the 1920s or something like that. Okay, in the plaza, in the square of a town that has been a human settlement, sorry, since the Neolithic times. And the place where I was born, it was where the pagan altar was, and the square, the plaza, we here we call it praça, the plaza. It had been an ancient Neolithic burial ground, then a Celtic, because if you don't know this, most Portuguese have Celtic blood in it. Okay, we are the Lusitani were a Celtic tribe mixing with other Celtic tribes. The Spanish were more Iberian than us, and that place later on was a Celtic burial ground and also a temple. And then over medieval times, they covered it, and then they built the old church in one place of the old plaza, whatever, and then they put what we call the plurinho, which is kind of a column of stone. Oh yes, Mr. Rightfully, sorry. Most of us are more. Most of us, I will clarify. Me, I'm German French mixed in with Portuguese. Okay, basically this is what I am. But most of the Portuguese are a bit like imagine an Irish mixed with an Italian. Okay, and you have the Portuguese. Then of course you have other influences like in any other country. Okay, but the basic stuff of the population is that. Okay, and there are even a lot of traditions regarding that. I have that side from my grandfather. There are a lot of traditions that you will find are very similar to customs and superstitions and whatever that exists. For example, more in Scotland and in Ireland, but more. I don't know why, but there are a lot of things that are similar with Scotland. Okay, but let's continue. But as I was saying, these people, the place that guy was visiting, it was interesting because he was genuinely showing America, and it did not look like such a bad place. And I have this belief that these people that are being led on by this mega crowd, all these people need is to be a little, have better media, have a better way of seeing life, and being taught that an immigrant is not necessarily your enemy, okay? And I'm not saying to not control immigration. That is an issue all over the world because of climate change, because of war, because of populational imbalances. It's a problem everywhere, okay? And we control it, but do it like we do, okay? Control population. And then I hear people saying things like, for example, there is a street in Lisbon where most of the Hindustani or I don't know Bangladeshi population, they settled in that street in Lisbon. And then I imagine my surprise seeing a video by some, I think he was American. Yes, he was American guy that went to Lisbon, and then he purposely went in that street, and then he was making a stream. Europe is being invaded, my friend. It was a bloody street, a street for God's sakes, a street, and it had around, I don't know, maybe 100 meters, probably not. Okay, and he also did not went into the trouble of knowing that that street is owned by the city hall, the houses in that street, and they are lodging people there that enter into the country, and they need some time to how to learn how to act and how to behave inside of the country. So when in these people, more important than this, these people were political refugees. They were running. They were running. Okay, these were people that were in danger of being murdered. And the Portuguese government does a selection, and one thing is normal immigration, economical immigration. Those people either enter through normal routes, and if, for example, they have to have a job, they have to have a place to stay, they have to have a number of things that is needed for them to be able to be here and work here. Okay, they can bring, for example, only their wife and their kids, whatever conditions the government puts. And the other thing, and I said this in a video that I made, is the political immigrants. The political immigrants, they arrive at Europe. They ask for a place to be safe. This stay, let's call it like this, can be temporary, or it can be in a bigger length in time. For example, Iranian Christians. If I told you how many Iranian Christians are in Europe, you would be surprised. Thousands. Because they are being persecuted where they were. Before them, the Syrian Christians. Okay? I know of at least 200 of them that the Catholic Church here in Portugal took them in because those people were in danger of being murdered. And as Mr. Rifley here, the claim is that this current unusual immigration situation is manufactured. It's a form of managed decline. From what I understand, in Europe, a part of the problem is that Syria has fallen. Yes, because you have to remember where Europe is. Okay, we're in the middle of everything. We are in the middle of everything, and if people are desperate, they will do anything. Okay, and now this is why now Europe is taking countermeasures to slow down this shit, to allow, number one, and you have to understand this, and this is the difference of perspective here. Number one, to protect people, the people that are living here, and the people that are trying to come here. This is why now you can get in a boat and arrive at Europe, and that will not grant you automatically that you will be able to stay here. No, around 70 to 80% of those people are sent back. And these are according to the latest figures that I saw. For example, there are countries where that The deportation is more accelerated. Like, for example, in Germany, in France, and in Spain. In Italy, they they are following another type of policy, but they are basically everyone is basically doing the same. Okay, but you have to understand that these people that are protesting right here in the United States, they are not enemies of anyone, and this kind of rhetoric that comes out of the USA is only doing harm to the USA. Okay, because you in the USA, you are a completely different country than Europe. Okay, Europe has, for example, infrastructures for a number of people, and this is one of the issues that we've been having here in Portugal. And if you overreach your infrastructures, you will have major issues. All right. In the USA, despite what Mr. Trump says, you already have those immigrants there. Now it's a question of installing politics to allow you, number one, to remove the criminals that certainly come with the normal immigration that we also have here, and number two, to integrate the people that you have in your country and that have been there for more than some of. I heard a guy here that was being interviewed. He was there for more than 30 years, and you can ask me why did he not legalize himself? Because it's expensive. While here to legalize yourself, you go to the border services and you explain your situation, and then they tell you you can stay or you cannot stay, you have to go. And if you want, you go, and then you can try to enter in the country again legally. And you cannot work, you cannot have you cannot have property, you cannot have a banking account if you are not legal, because you will need a tax number, you will need a social security number, and we have a more and we have a very digitalized state. For example, with a simple key, I can access all the services of the state from right here where I am, right here in my computer. I can access banking accounts. I can access anything. Okay, and if you go and try to work, what will happen? Perhaps you will be able to work a couple of weeks illegally, but it's a very very dangerous thing to do, because both you and your employer can be arrested. And I'm not talking about fined, I'm talking about arrested. And this happens constantly. So we do have issues with illegal immigration, of course. If there are people being arrested and if there are people being deported, then there is an issue. Key issue here is we do not allow this. But in the US, how can you have an entire industry, farming and tourism, completely dependent on illegal migrants? How can those people be illegal? I'm certain the cops know they are there. They know that Juanita, that is serving them the coffee in the coffee shop, that she's not legal. Or that Antonio, that is picking up the fruit for Old Man Bob, isn't illegal. So what should they do? They should do what we do. Constantly investing in having in searching things, in cross-referencing data, and allowing a normal way of entering the country. So that, for example, sometimes there are situations where you need 1,000 people to fill in industrial manufacturer works, and that no one wants to do here, or they can do something else. You are going to have to use immigrants. And if there are decent people that are working, that are paying their taxes, they are contributing to our society, we will have to accept them. It's normal. Okay? I will tell you this example. The Eastern European population that came here to Portugal, some of them adapted completely to the society and they intermarried. I'm talking about, for example, the Ukrainian. I'm talking, for example, about the Polish, the Bulgarian, the Romanian. Why? Because they adapted to our culture, and also there are a lot of similar things with our culture. The same thing can be said about the Brazilian. Brazil is basically a big Portugal with a couple of mixture into it. Okay, the same can be said about the Argentinian. The same can be said about the Portuguese Venezuelan descendants. That with all this crap of Maduro, okay, there was a year in which we had 150,000 Portuguese Venezuelans coming into the country. You have any idea how much does that put our infrastructures in stress? This is why we are having this is why here in Portugal we are having so many issues. This is why the conservative right wing grows so much, because successive governments did not take care of this issue in creating the infrastructures to accept people. Because and then you have the double whammy of the immigrants coming into Europe. It's like dropping gasoline on a fire. And this is a situation that is being, how can I say this? A situation that's getting worse because of what the Americans are doing, because of what their right wing media is doing. They are spreading it, they spread to the UK, they are trying to spread to Europe, they are trying to impose. I don't know. What will we all be uh, white people drinking smoothies behind a chain link, or will we, for example, like Europe, and I only see the EU trying to do this, will we create industries and economical ties? It's working with Morocco, for example. A lot of Portuguese companies are opening it up in Morocco. They are giving jobs to people. They are paying taxes to the Moroccan government. They are creating economic ties. And this is, for me, this is my personal opinion, this is the way to go. Because number one, with our if we extend our economical influence, we will be able to extend our political influence. Okay? And number two, because this will create peace. Let me just. Yes, yes, Mr. Rifley, you are right. Trillions of dollars a year servicing the debt. Yes. But the issue here is that the American economy is wealthy because of its debt. I know it's an economical paradox, and like I said, I have 3 years in economy, so I know a bit of what I'm saying. But the fact that the USA has such a high debt causes investors that play the game to buy more American sovereign debt, and that creates revenue to the state. But the level of the debt that the US right now it's very dangerous, really dangerous. Okay, but because you see, when you look at an economy, just a little interlude. I'm going to be ending the stream soon, but just a little interlude. Okay, the wealth of an economy is seen through a lot of factors. For example, you have inflation or deflation, you have the GDP, you have the employment rate, You have the level of education of your population, a lot of factors. But when you go down to it, to the cern of the question, you have two big factors. You have the amount of wealth that is produced in the state, and you have the amount of debt that is produced by the state. And the wealth of the state is how much more wealth, meaning positive result, do you have in relation to your debt. And for example, one of the countries where you can see this clear as rain is the UK. The UK still has a lot of money, I mean, really a lot of money, but it has an astronomical debt. And the UK is not producing enough wealth to maintain that level of debt low. So, what is happening right now in the US is this: you are producing little and little wealth, and you are increasing and increasing and increasing your debt. The issue here is to, instead of using wealth to pay debt, you have to use wealth to invest in the economy, okay, and produce more wealth so that slowly you are able to reduce the debt. Doge believed that by cutting services blindly, they would be able to reduce the debt. And that's ridiculous. You cannot do this because, for example, you end a series of federal jobs. Those people no longer spend money in the economy. That wealth no longer grows. That person will not buy a house. Houses are rising. The price of housing, not just in the US, also in Europe, but the level of the prices of housing in the US are simply, look, it's double the worst of what's happening around here, where you also have a housing crisis that they are trying to solve. Okay, so the issue here is this: you already have some immigrants inside of your country. The people that I was talking about, the guy that is working in a restaurant, the guy that is doing this and doing that. It would be much easier, instead of sending ICE, send people in uniform to go talk with the employers, talk with the migrants, see why those people are here, know who you have inside of your borders, because that is extremely important. Every immigrant here in Portugal is documented. If he is not documented, they won't last perhaps a couple of weeks in the country, maybe with luck. They need to have their card. They need to have, for example, they need to have a banking account. They need to have their tax register. They need to have their health register, and then, of course, they can use the services, but they are paying for it because in Europe, unlike what many people think in the US, we do not have free healthcare. I'll give you an example. 30% of my salary monthly goes to pay for my healthcare and my future pension. This is an example, okay? Just a simple example. But in return to that, for example, as I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm a bit under the weather because of the heat. Okay, last year I had heat stroke. I had to go go to the emergency services, to the hospital, because I was feeling really bad. Okay, I was seen by a doctor twice. I was treated by nurses in a room. I was hydrated. I was medicated. They did not let me leave the office, the hospital, before they believed I was good. I left with a medical prescription to pick up at the pharmacy, and let me tell you the exams they did. Okay, they did a kind of an an exam with a mask to see my breathing. The doctor thought that my abdomen was a bit flustered, so I made a kind of an MRI or something like that. That exam, okay. They took my blood and saw my to see what if the level of oxygen in the blood and whatever. I did all of that. I was around 4 hours inside the treating room being treated, and the grand total was 1750 euros of what we call moderated taxes. 1750 euros. And I went to pick up the prescription at the pharmacy, and I paid 9 euros for the medicine. And I left with all of my exams, meaning the blood works, the entire thing, in a little envelope for myself. And right now, for example, they send it to your email. And that medical exam is in your national chart, let's call it like this, a national process, well, whatever, that is in our NHS. And for example, I'm in South Portugal. If I have any kind of health issue in all over Portugal, the doctor that is going to see me, he will be able to see my medical chart just by punching in my number. Okay, but we pay for this, and now we are having issues with our infrastructures because the previous government that fell, not this one, that this was another issue, but one before, when they fell, because they were not taking care of things. And Europe was saying, look, the migrants are entering to Portugal, and then they go to Germany, and Germany has to deport them. So clean up your house, do your job, or we are going to fine you. And now they are running around trying to solve this. So you see, every country has issues. This is not an utopia, this is not a paradise, but at least things more or less work. And in the US, with so much money, with so many jobs to do, so many things that you can do to produce wealth, and people are losing time with a madman having a military parade and people having to protest for their rights. Okay, solve it. You don't need to have a chain link between the USA and Mexico. You just need to have, for example, why don't you do what we do? When an employer hires someone, that person has to have a tax number, it has to have an authorization to be in the country, and that person also has to have a banking account and all of that. Okay? Simple as this. If they don't, then the employer and the person that is working for them jailed or fined, whatever. No, that is up for your law, not for mine. Okay? This would be simple. And instead of needing to have ICE agents running around like they are cosplaying militaries, instead of having that, you will have, like we look, you want to know how a work inspection here, for example, is in a farm work? Okay, you have 2 or 3 inspectors that are not armed, and if they need any assistance, the local police goes and assists them. They talk with people with calm. If they are illegal, they identify them. They are sent to court to be present to a judge, and the judge will decide what happens. Okay? If the employer knowingly did it, the fines here, and about this I can tell you, the fines here begin at 5,000 euros, and then they just climb up and accumulate. Ginny Bottle, Germany still seems like a bully, being situated away from the sea where migrants might use. No, no, no. Here the question is this: uh, immigrants that wanted to go to France and to Germany were using Portugal and Spain that had less restrictive measures to go illegally across the Schengen space to Germany. And then they would work illegally in Germany. And they would cause issues and problems. Or they would try to forge paperwork or whatever. And the rule here is, and I know this will be a bit hard for the UK because the migrants keep passing to the UK from France, but that is an entire business that I have to make a stream about because I'm trying to understand what really is happening. But when Portugal allows an immigrant to enter, and for whatever reasons legalizes him or issues an order of deportation, from that moment on, Portugal is responsible for that person. So if that person is detected in Germany, Germany will have issues with it because they will have to use their taxpayers' money to solve a problem that was caused by Portugal, and vice versa. Attention, okay? And vice versa. Don't think that the power relations in the EU are like that, or that the EU is a country, like Mr. Trump says. God. Okay? So the issue here is that Germany also is one of the most populous countries. Okay, Germany has, I believe, 90 million inhabitants or something like that. Okay, Germany and France, the most populated countries. So the issue here is not who the people are, but how they enter, because Germany also has their infrastructures, and they have to have and they are trying also to improve their infrastructures to support the population. Okay, and they are having the same issues like here in Portugal, where cities that were always have been from the Socialist Party, and here you have an actual Socialist Party. Historically, they always voted for them, but their cities are stressed with the migrant population. And what did people do? They voted in the conservative right. Okay, there is no far right in Portugal. I know even Portuguese people are talking about that, but that's ridiculous. Okay, we have our constitution bans the existence of any authoritarian or fascist regimes. Simple as this. It's banned. If a party tries to present itself to elections to create a party with those type of ideologies, they are simply barred by the constitutional tribunal, the court. And this is what's happening in Europe. What is happening now is a consequence of the inaction and the lack of vision of governments from before. Okay? Like I said, and I have said this often, okay, I am too mixed to be a racist. I am Portuguese, mixed with German, a lot of it. I have more German in me and French in me than I have Portuguese, probably. Okay? And I even have a dash of Baltic and Dane. Okay, so when I was a kid, I suffered a lot with racism because I spoke German with my grandfather. Okay? And I was born in the middle of a communist heartland. So I know how it feels. So I don't want it, neither for me, neither for others. So when I am talking about controlling immigration, it's control. I'm not saying deny the entry of people that are fleeing war, that people that are being raped, like in Syria, that are being forced to convert to other religions that they don't want. Frankly, I don't care about that shit. You know, I have my beliefs, you have yours, and that should all stay at home and not in the. I believe in a completely secular state. Okay, and we need to control it, and we are controlling, but we are being logic about it. But tell me this: does this? Let me just. Does this looks like a normal saying? This is in CNBC, okay? Does this look like a normal situation? People looking at military look at this chat. Look at this. There is so much hatred, so much mockery here, so many bots. It's ridiculous, okay? Yeah, show the kid how it is inside the Humvee. No, this is not normal. Okay. I don't know, for an American that this might seem normal, but not for me. And then, sorry, this damn hit. And then, oh, and in Europe we do have AC. Okay, I just don't have it turned on because it spends a lot of electricity, and I can perfectly be here with a fan. Now, my issue with this is that this situation in the USA is not normal. People are completely divided, and no one seems to have an urge to listen to what the other party is saying. You know, the Democrats now, they are complaining about Trump, apparently. But when they were in the elections, and it's now they are talking about sorry, I will have to end the stream because I'm not feeling very well, but let's just end this, okay? The Democrats now, they are complaining about the situation. Okay? But the issue here is that, number one, a lot of people did not even bother to vote. And to me, not voting is cowardness, is not assuming a position. Even when I go to vote and I deliver my ballot without selecting a party, I am placing my vote. It's a protest vote, but I am placing my vote. If I go and I vote for a party, okay, I am assuming my responsibility in that party. I am being a citizen. All those people that say, oh, it's not worth it. Oh, why should I vote? They are all the same. If they are all the same, then you force them to not be the same because you voted for them and you have a duty as a citizen to your state to do your job. And your only job is to be a citizen, is to vote, is to criticize when you need to, is to support when you should, and not this. Because I see a lot of people here. Some are mocking others, some are offending them. No, this chat is burning up with people, with all kinds of people, religious nuts. No, I don't know every kind of people, but I don't see one effing word about saying, look at the state our country is. Consider this. Consider this. Europe is no longer sharing data with the US. Military data. Unless that military data that is absolutely needed due to the compromises in NATO. But even NATO is withholding data from the USA. Why? because the USA, they discovered that all the data that we sent to the Americans somehow ended up in the Kremlin. And now you tell me how this happens. I don't know, and I won't spread fake news. I'm just saying what I heard. Nothing more. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying this. How do they know? And you will say, oh, they have spies in Europe. Yes, they have, but we know who they are. Okay? We know who they are. And then you have Mr. Vance, Mr. Hexet, Mr. Trump saying all kinds of nice things about Europe. Like, for example, they are still saying they want to occupy Greenland, which is an autonomous state of the Danish kingdom that is an ally of the USA, and everyone seems to be all right about this. Why weren't people? Why weren't people when he started saying this crap? Why weren't people criticizing him? Why? And I'm not talking about Joe in the street. I'm talking about people with actual influence and money. I will tell you why. Some of them talked about, but the ones that didn't talk about it, they were gaining something with it. They are still gaining something with it. And why? Why? Just tell me why. Follow the money trail. Now, look, I will end the stream now. From what I am seeing, people are, at least here, people are peaceful. I'm sorry for these people in Minnesota, these two legislators that apparently were murdered by someone impersonating a police. They were talking about 3 deaths. I only see 2 so far. No, look, all right. Tomorrow I will see the reactions and make a video about it. But now I'm sorry, but I'm really going to have to end this. Okay, 157 minutes already, and I'm a bit tired now. Everyone that came to watch me, to listen to me, thank you very much. Well, Ginny Bottom, that is one position. Okay, I respect it. I respect it. Okay, I respect it. I have spoken about my opinion. In my opinion, you have to be a citizen and make that contract with the state to vote, to participate. But like I said, I also respect your position. Now, sorry, folks. Now I really have to be going. I have to rest a little. These issues with my eyes and my lungs, they're not very good, but nothing serious. Okay, but uh, I thank you all for coming. I hope to see you next one. Again, I'm going to make a video about this maybe tomorrow, and I will try to post it. So, thank you all. Mr. Rifley, sorry, Mr. Rifley, Ginny Bottle, Ginger Giraffes, yeah, you folks that are in the USA, stay safe, okay? Take care of yourselves, take care of your family, and your friends, and let's hope this will not, something evil will not come out of this. Okay, I don't think I don't think anything will happen, but who am I? Okay, no one believed Putin was invading Ukraine until he invaded Ukraine, and it happened overnight. Okay, no, Thank you all for coming, and bye. Have a great weekend.